right, Dominic Fariello, go get him, will you? Like that.
Like I can see if Peter Criss had because he was the cat.
When I see their faces, I think cats all the time.
Do you?
Yeah. That's my number one picture. I don't picture the star or whatever Gene's supposed to be.
Demon.
The demon. I picture the
Cat.
the cat.
Yeah, I just always wonder that conversation. Gene's, I'm gonna be a demon, and then Paul's like, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be Star Child, and then Space Ace. I'm gonna be an alien. Guys, I'm gonna be Kitty Cat. That's gonna be.
Or did he go first? I'm thinking cat. No, because I was thinking demon.
Yeah.
What
Can I change mine?
Yeah,
No, you already
too
said
late.
cat.
Mr. Pink, you're already stuck with it.
It's in there.
Dom, what is that? You fancy up your car?
My truck is in service, so I took an afternoon off yesterday, and Steve Hurley and I basically test drove a lot of his merchandise.
Oh yeah, you got the Corvette out front.
No,
the new one?
I've got the Mad Rock. This thing is a beast. It's a souped up, jacked up Silverado.
The Rocky Ridge edition.
It's the Rocky Ridge. This thing, it's got the muffler package on it. I mean, I got stopped by 2 cops just since yesterday just to look at the truck. And it's a beast. Let me tell you, you need a lawyer that drives this to the courthouse. You ain't losing.
Try that next. I got to trade in my.
Can I tell you how smart Steve Hurley is giving you that? Because you're going to go back to get ready and be like, just go do the paperwork, trade it out, let's go.
And my staff's smart. They go, where are you going this afternoon? I got to take my car into service. I'm going to see Steve. I said, you're not coming back today. I said, no. I'll be back. No, you're not coming back. Because they knew, so I go out there.
Yeah.
Steve gets the golf cart. We start driving around, and we drove diesels yesterday. We drove all sorts. I mean, I
just bought a diesel from him.
Oh, it's a blast.
I have the best thing about the diesel is it is so quiet in that car, and I'm so used to driving the Hummer where it sounds like just like a bunch of pots and pans are shaking around all the time. I brought my car in for service as well, and today is the 2-month anniversary. Actually, last week was a 2-month anniversary. My car has been at Stingray for 2 months.
This is the Hummer?
This is the Hummer. Because Justin, the parts director over there, the auto, what do you call it? The service manager. I was going to say the fix-em-up guy. He said, hey, your air pump went, or whatever it is for my air conditioner. He goes, we need to get a new one. And he said, but, we need to order we can't get a cheap replacement part. We need to order the real one. And then the goddamn GM strike happened. Yeah. And I check in with him every week. I go, how we doing? He goes, expecting an overnight delivery. You should have a shipment tomorrow. I mean, it's not his fault at all. He can't put it in. You don't have what you don't have.
Well, it ended, though.
But I know, and he said because it's over now, people are getting shipments. But same thing with our friend Willie, who owns a small shop up in Hudson area where he does repairs and stuff. He said he can't get anything because of the strike. All his parts are on back order. Somebody hit my dad in the door, and they can't replace the door because they can't get new ones.
Well, Steve told me yesterday, because his dealership is so large, that a lot of the local dealerships have requested parts from him. Because he's got such an inventory, which, of course, it's been depleted because he's been providing parts to all of the other dealerships so he can get all these other folks up and running.
Yeah.
But, he was telling me that yesterday. But I'll tell you what, man, it was a fun Monday afternoon.
Oh, I bet.
Man, he had some muscle cars in there. He's always got something in the showroom.
We used to know a guy who ran the fairgrounds, and he had a Corvette, and I had a Charger at the time. And, the fairgrounds is a big racetrack around it. I did not know that. And he was like, I'm trying to get them permission so we could race the Vet and the Charger around, and they never gave him permission. But that would have been awesome.
Yeah,
run the car over there. I'm only going to go more than 100 miles an hour, but just to see what it would be like,
Well, we should do the Calta race-off or something. We can lobby for that.
Listen, the last radio guy got into racing, things didn't work out very well.
That's true.
Stick to what we do.
Let's do boxing and cruises. Okay, exactly. My apologies, Mike. I'm sorry.
727-579-1025 or 800-771-1025. You got a question for Ask the Dom? Get on the phone lines right now. Like Paul, you're on with Ask the Dom. What do you got, Paul?
Hey, good morning. Hey, I appreciate this show, y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Dom.
Good morning.
We went through a divorce back in like 05 or 06 in that area. Our children, our boys were, like 8 and 9 years old at the time. And now that they're in their 20s, we still have the shared custody, dissolve the marriage and all that kind of stuff. Is it possible in any way, even though they're adults now in their 22 and 24-ish area, can I go after my ex-wife and say that, you have not been providing me any kind of information about them? She has totally cut them off from me. They're living with her, and they are living in another state, though. So is there any kind of recourse I can go with that?
Well, let me ask you this. When you guys went into the divorce in 05 or 06, a document, a divorce decree, did you have an agreement between each side?
Oh, yeah. We had an agreement, even though she's not following.
Okay.
We did have that in writing.
All right. So you had an agreement. Here we are now, so many years later. Over right. 10 years is what it sounds like, maybe 15, give or take. But whatever she violated or did not adhere to in the agreement, really the time to have addressed it would have been at the time of the breach. See, because you're dealing with two individuals now. I guess the children are of age. So they're of majority. Right. I mean, they're adults. If they don't want to talk to you, if they don't want to see you, well, then that's on their own accord now. They're no longer of the minority. Now, you want to go after her for not disclosing where they are, how they're doing, what happened in baseball. I'm not quite sure what it is that she's breached that you're upset about.
Well, she just totally cut them off. They're not allowed to talk to me at all. I'm not allowed to know anything about them.
Well, they're adults now. There's nothing you can do. So what you should have done, humbly, and for folks listening that might be in the same situation, if you have a divorce decree, if you have a marital dissolution agreement regarding children or alimony or anything, and the other party breaches or violates that, you have a right to recourse in the sense that you have to file a motion to address the breach before the court because they are in violation, Mike, of a court order.
Right.
And you don't wait until 15 years later, the children are now adults, and then try to go back retroactively because there's almost no standing. There's no ripeness, is what it's called in law. It's moot. There's no prevailing matter that needs to be litigated at the moment. There's nothing that's ripe. It's moot. So there you are.
Yeah. I was afraid of that, and I understand that. And I was kind of putting a question out there just for other fathers, to maybe hear what I've gone through.
Fair enough.
And maybe help somebody else. But,
fair enough.
All right, I appreciate it. I was hoping that even though they are adults, maybe the courts can make her do something with her.
Well, you can reach out to them. You can contact the office and hire a private investigator, and Pam can locate them, and then maybe you can send them a letter or get a phone number and call them. I mean, if you want to hunt them down, there's a private investigator that can help you with that. I mean, if they want to talk to you and maybe they don't know how to find you. You don't know what's going on in their minds. So call Pam. She can look for the folks, and then maybe you guys can be reconnected. You never know until you try.
All right. Okay. I appreciate it, and I'll give Pam a call. Thank you.
Go to my office or askthedom.com.
I had to call Pam today.
There you go.
I had to call Pam for registration reasons.
Oh, please make sure it's registered.
And I know Spanish will not remind you because he's not even in here, but I want to remind you had something for Dom.
Yeah, my wife got a ticket.
No, okay, all right. No,
a little bit of heavy foot.
This is the week of tickets. There's a few other people associated with the radio station that's getting tickets.
Write down the names. I need to send them all. I'll let you know in the priority in which to defend them.
Yeah, okay.
Chris, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Great show.
Thank you, Chris. You're on with Ask the Dom. What do you got, sir?
All right, Dom. A couple of weeks ago, my son was involved in a car accident, and he was a backseat passenger. They got rear-ended on I-4. The lady that hit him, we just found out yesterday, did not have insurance. He did go to the hospital. He had a big bump on the back of his head. And they are now asking for our car insurance versus his health insurance. I didn't know if that was normal or...
Yes, PIP, personal injury protection. So PIP under Florida no-fault insurance law stays with the person. So if I'm in Mike's car, for example, and we get into an accident, I would use my PIP auto insurance. I just happen to have State Farm. I've had State Farm for years. So I would file through my auto insurance PIP coverage, although I was not in my own car. I was, in this example, a passenger in Mike's car. So just like your son, you would go through your own insurance. Now, because the at-fault party did not carry bodily injury, which is not required in the state of Florida, which is very frustrating when I have to tell clients there's no insurance because they don't understand, well, why is there no protection? Well, Florida doesn't have mandatory BI, which is why when you purchase insurance coverage, they ask you if you want uninsured motorist coverage, otherwise known as UM. So if you purchased UM, then you can make an uninsured motorist claim for your son who suffered injuries in the accident on I-4. If you did not purchase UM, you would have had to sign a UM rejection or waiver form. So if you didn't sign one of those, then they have to afford coverage to uninsured motorists for you. So, but usually they have you sign them now. A lot of these things are done, Mike, electronically.
You got to get it.
So what happens?
You got to get it because you get some lunatic with no license that hits you. It's the only thing that's going to save you.
It's crazy because in the olden days, and it's where when I say that, you used to go in and buy. You sit down with an agent. They would sell you the insurance. They would go over everything. Now you go online and you just click and type and do what the hell you want to do, and nobody's there to explain to you. Well, this is what collision means. This is what MedPay means. This is what UM means. And then they just look at what's the most reasonable amount to pay per month or annually, and they don't really know. And it's like, Galvin, what I get upset about when someone calls all the time, I have full coverage.
Right, you don't.
And I go
you
crazy.
Don't.
Go crazy. So I can help you at my office. If you don't know what type of policies you have, we can certainly take a look at it. You also could potentially make a claim for the policy of the driver of the car and the owner of the car that your son was a passenger in. So that's 4 insurances there. The at-fault parties doesn't have BI. The driver of the car, if that's different than the owner of the car, he's a passenger in. And then your insurance, the family's insurance. 4 possible areas of recovery. Well, actually 3 now because we know about the first.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question.
Let's go to Jay. Jay, good morning. You have a question for Ask the Dom. Go ahead, Jay.
Hey, good morning, guys. As usual, great show. Good morning, Dom.
Good morning, buddy.
What do you got?
I got a question about work. I think I was terminated wrongfully, and the charge was sexual assault. I walked into work. I usually hand the papers to the receptionist. She refused it, told me to check it. There's a very small entrance to get into that reception area. Well, they let me in, and then when it was time to get out, there was a girl there that the store manager warned me about on Friday. This happened on Monday, April 1st.
Is this a real story, sir?
I swear to God, man. I had 9 years of employment there.
Well, what did they warn you about the girl? What she's going to attack you? What was the warning about this other?
The warning is he told me to stay away from her. Me and the store manager, he's always had something against me. We can never figure it out. And my boss knew I was working in a hostile environment with the store manager that got a chip on his shoulder for me. Well, that Friday he told me, don't mess with that girl. And then he had that girl posed up in that position. I believe it was all staged.
Was she hot?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
I'm 52 years old, and she's like 20. But then...
That's what you call employment entrapment, is when you put a hot girl in there to try to induce you to do something wrong. It's psychological game, sir.
Well, buddy, I'll tell you what. My life has been wrecked since then.
Well, what allegedly did you do?
What did you do?
Yeah,
I don't get this.
Don't skip the good parts.
No, when I exited that reception area, I did touch her on her hip.
On her head or her hip?
Hip.
Why did you touch her hip? Why did you touch her hip?
Excuse me. I'm trying to exit this small little area. Excuse me.
Oh.
I should have touched on her shoulder. I understand that now. But they're saying I touched on her buttocks.
Okay.
Well, is there a video surveillance, or is there?
There is a video surveillance, but like I said, this happened in April.
Well, why the hell are you calling us now? It's almost November on Friday. Why are you waiting so many months?
Well, be truthful, my pride.
No, No. You can't.
I don't think there's been anything truthful about this. I think you grabbed their ass.
You can't call a lawyer months later and say it's because of pride, because what's happened now is you diminish the ability to fight the claim. If you've already been unemployed or were there any charges filed?
They refused unemployment and everything.
Well, I understand under the circumstances, allegedly.
Ass grabber.
Did you get charged with any type of crime?
That's not true, buddy.
Did you get charged with any crime?
No. And now listen, the store manager told that girl that she had to write a report about the incident.
Now, what did she write?
Let me back up, guys. Let me back up. After I exited that receptionist area, there's a coffee bar 2 feet away from it.
Right.
I'm there making a cup of coffee. This is the truth. That same girl came to my left-hand shoulder, and with her phone scrolling through it, she told me, remember I told you about that Italian guy that gave me that orgasm?
No, I don't believe any of this story anymore.
Well, the problem with this caller.
I gotta go, sir.
The problem with this caller.
He's a moron.
Well, he waited 6 damn months.
He didn't. I don't believe any of it, though.
Allegedly. Yeah. I take everything at face value with a grain of salt.
Fake fish.
You know, if it's fake, if it's a fake call, fine. But for those listening, don't wait 6 months.
Yeah.
If you're going to call about any legal issue, and sure as hell don't tell a lawyer, well, it's because of pride, if that's true or not, because, the only way lawyers can help you is to know about a problem immediately.
Right.
It's almost the scene in The Godfather when he says that
Don Corleone insists on hearing bad news immediately.
I mean, that's how you have to think when you want to contact
head back
a lawyer.
to New York tonight from California. In the meantime, these guys are going to put a dead horse in your back.
Well, he didn't tell him that. He got woke up and got to that. Oh, by the way, Mike, for all the veterans, I know Veterans Day is coming up.
I love that you do this.
All the veterans, I do represent veterans in several capacities for free. As a courtesy. One is if there's any traffic violations, speeding, 316 traffic codes, stop sign, things like that in Hillsborough County.
Not if you grab the girl's hip.
Not the hip. All that stuff is different. That's not traffic. In Hillsborough County, I handle all of those for the month of November for free. Now, they have the Veterans Outreach Program, which is coming up here, not this Friday, but the following Friday. And a lot of veterans are confused between the outreach program and Veterans Treatment Court. It's not just now for November. I've worked with the judges in Hillsborough County, the state attorney's office, as well as the public defender's office.
Right.
We are able to do the Veterans Outreach Program all year, any month. So if the veterans were not able to get in by the deadline and they have maybe a warrant or traffic fees, fines, costs due, minor misdemeanor matters, minor traffic matters, contact my office. I'll figure out what we need to do, and if we can't file it in November, I can do it in December. I can do it in January.
There you go.
The courts have worked with me that says, Dom, as a private attorney and working with the state and the public defender's office, we can do it year-round now.
That's great.
So a lot of the veterans got nervous that they missed a deadline. No such thing anymore.
I gotta tell you, that's great.
So just want to put that out there for our veterans.
I wish we had something to offer the veterans, Calvin.
Well, you do. I'm an extension of your show.
Well, we'll take the credit for your work.
But if you would do me a favor,
yes.
When I'm not here, throughout the week, if you would remind veterans,
be my pleasure.
Galvin, if you would remind Mike, just say, hey, listen, if you're a veteran, if you've got minor legal issues, just call Dom. We'll sort out what we can do. Just remind people.
You think it's your PTSD. If you've got a minor thing in the back of your mind that's always like, I got to get that taken care of. Once that's taken care of, it just alleviates all that pressure.
It does. And a lot of this stuff isn't that hard to do. Mm-hmm. And I can do it now at any level. At the traffic court level, I can do it at the county court level, I can do it at the circuit court level. We actually now have an isolated day and time every month where I can file motions and then have it heard by the court. Judge Shanti has offered that, and we're going to move forward with that into 2020. But again, if you're listening to the show and you're a veteran, you're not quite sure if you qualify or not, call my office. I'll help you. We'll figure it out. Again, it's courtesy. It's free of charge. It's my way of saying thank you for your service to our country.
And the phone number to Dom's office is 813-251-5511. All right, there's a bunch of calls now. I'd like to get to as many as possible. I'm in a very giving mood. Let's see. And what am I going to say? All right, let's start.
Are you doing a potion over there?
I was looking to see if there was one more applicable than the other. I'm just going to go straight down the aisle. Rob, you're on with Ask Dom. What do you got?
Hey, guys. Good morning. My wife and I have recently separated. We're selling our house. We're splitting our assets 50-50.
Congratulations.
So, yeah. It's pretty amicable. Now, as far as alimony goes, I pretty much make double what she does, even though I don't make a lot of money. She was an RN. She's now on disability. And I've agreed, because of her medical bills, I've agreed to give her, when I figured out the alimony calculation, it was like $800.
Yeah, there's a formula in the statutes that it's basically statistics. You just input the information into a formula.
Right, and then when you read that, the explanation, though, it's ability to pay and her need.
Yes,
correct?
Yeah, the ability and the need, correct, yep.
Right. So the fact that her, and I'm going to say take-home, my take-home is not, when I deduct my money I'm putting away for my 401k, the money I take out for her my flexible spending account to give her to her,
right,
so that she has money to pay co-pays and everything. Is that based on, our take-homes, mine's only a little bit more than hers. So does that affect the ability to pay her because I'm putting money into my 401k and I'm maxing it out?
Well, are you, to answer your question accurately, are you doing a hybrid of the formula because you want to help her out because she has some medical issues and concerns and you're more or less the breadwinner? So, I mean, you can do a variation to the extent that the parties mutually agree. And then if you guys, I don't know if each of you have a lawyer or if you're doing a collaborative divorce or what you're doing.
We're trying to do it without lawyers.
Okay, but which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But
no, as long as there is no disputes and we both agree.
Well, then
what I agreed to is like a $300 a month for a year. And then my next question is, I have retirement that is based on a marriage. She would get my retirement if something happens to me if we're still married. But once we would not be married anymore, she would not get the retirement. So we've agreed to kind of stay married for now and living separately. Is that, my only concern is legally.
Yeah, that's problematic. That's listen, if you're going to get a divorce, you need to get a divorce. I think that couples run into problems. Well, we're going to stay married but separated. Well, then she has the inherent rights of a spouse during all that time. And then if things go sideways or if something happens to you, you're still married. She's now your spouse, and under the statute, whether you die intestate or testate, which is with a will or without a will, she's going to then inherit under the statutes because of a spouse, although you're separated but not legally divorced. So I would not go that route because it doesn't seem that's not very logical or sensical compared to what you're telling me on the air today.
Yeah, it was. My main reason was that the retirement goes away if something happens to me. It doesn't go to my heirs. It's only.
Well, you could still do that, sir, with a trust. I mean, you can still work that formula with a probate lawyer outside of doing a divorce decree. Andrew Gracie, Peoples and Gracie in Dunedin is my guy that does probate. I can easily give you his information. I don't think you need Jason Valkenburg for family law, but if you want to save something in a trust or an estate or do estate planning with retirement, you need to call Andrew. So just go to AskTheDom.com. I'll give you Andrew's information. That's what you need.
Yeah. The problem with it's a requirement of the retirement. It's the retirement fund that if you don't have a spouse, it can only go to.
Well, before we litigate the whole thing today, we got time off air to do it. We'll get you to Andrew.
Go to AskTheDom.com. Andrew Grease is a good guy, and get that all taken care of.
Wish we had more time.
Oh, for the love of God. Joe, good morning. You're on with Ask the Dom. Hey, Joe. Too bad. Justin, good morning.
Good morning.
What's up?
First, I'd like to say thanks as a veteran, Dom, for everything you do for veterans. That's pretty cool.
Right? That's a good. Isn't that awesome?
You're very welcome. Thank you, guys.
That's pretty cool. I got arrested in Pinellas County a little while back, like the end of August. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the state attorney that threw it out before it made it to court.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, they can no file. Which is they don't continually file the charges, or they can no pros, which is once charges were filed, they basically dismiss the charges. Yeah.
Okay, so they dropped whatever it was. They dropped the charges. I'm not 100% sure, but I didn't have to go to court, and they sent my bond back. So
okay.
My question is I didn't realize this until yesterday. Somebody said something that the arrest still stays on my record, and I need to get that expunged.
Yeah, the arrest. Correct. Yeah, the arrest is basically contact with law enforcement, where law enforcement suspected you violated a statute or an ordinance or committed a crime, and then the state attorney, it sounds like, no filed the charges. So what you need to do is you can contact Pam with AP Investigations at my office, and you want to have your arrest record removed or sealed. Or expunged, basically, because the charge is no longer existent. And she can help you with that. So you just go to AskTheDom.com, or you call my office, AP Investigations. Pam can help you to remove your picture, your likeness from those websites. That's what you want.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. She does a lot of those too, Mike, by the way.
I know. Every once in a while, I feel like I need to let you explain that for all the other criminals listening to the show.
Yeah.
Because they always want to know, and we'll get a million calls every week, so once a month, they let them all go through.
There you go.
Let's go to John. You're on Ask the Dom. What do you got, John?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. Real quick, it was in December of 2016, I was in an automobile accident. I was driving my brother's vehicle, which was insured in. Mm-hmm. Now, just last week, I got a call from the insurance company. I'm not going to say the name. But they said they were sending me an affidavit to fill out. And to just forget about that one, because they're sending a second one. So never mind the first one, they'll send a second one. Well, I looked at the first one, and the law firm had even put in a statement, I guess from the person that was in the accident with me, which was all fabricated. She was walking across a 3-lane road. I didn't see her pop out in front of a pickup that was to my left. I was in the center. I swerved. She hit the rearview mirror, fell on the ground. I pulled way over, stopped, got out. She got up. Make another long story short, she ended up getting a jaywalking ticket. There was a bus driver, city bus driver, that witnessed the whole thing.
What state and county was this in 2000?
Pinellas County.
Pinellas County, December of 16. So she's hired an attorney, and they're suing you or your insurance company?
No, they're suing my brother's insurance.
And you were the driver?
Right.
Okay.
They want me to fill out this affidavit. I don't know. I looked up the definition of affidavit.
Well, the affidavit is that they want a sworn statement from you on your financials. So are all the questions asking you how much money you have, how many accounts you have, do you have any investments, assets? That's what they're asking you.
Exactly.
All right, and what they want is a sworn statement. Usually it's notarized. And an affidavit is basically they want you to disclose to them how much you're worth. They're trying to figure out, John, if you're worth suing. And personal injury lawyers, in layman's terms, I want to know what you got. Because if you don't have crap, I don't want to go after you. You see, that's in layman's terms, that's what they're asking you. So humbly, if you don't have a lot of resources, if you don't have a lot of savings or earnings, answer the questions. Send it in.
Okay.
And if you're not worth a lot, I don't know if you are or not, but if you're not worth a lot, more likely than not, they're probably going to settle with the insurance company policy limits or somewhere within it versus trying to go after you personally. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. That's what I was hoping it was.
There you go.
Before. I just thought they were turning things around onto me.
No, well, they're looking for any resource possible to compensate their client. It's what I do every day. They're not doing anything wrong. But Spanish, we've got another happy customer here. Can you go change the marquee outside?
I'm on it.
Another satisfying.
Let's go to Mike. Mike here on Ask Dom. What do you got, Mike?
Yeah, hi, guys. Good morning. Great show. Love you. Listen, I'm going to make this short. Basically, ex-police officer is stalking my fiance and I, mainly me. I guess he's jealous or whatever. That's neither here nor there. My question is this. Is there any way that I can find out if my name's been run through his friends? Freedom of Information Act. I'm not versed on it. I read some of it, and it's kind of blowing my mind. But
all right, can I jump in here for a second?
Well, sure, yeah.
I had a similar situation. Every time that they do run something through their car, it is documented. What you would do, what I suggest, Tom, tell me if I'm wrong, is contact this officer supervisor, send them something in writing, and I would say we're being stalked, perhaps harassed by this guy. Here is his information. If you want to go look and see if he's been searching our information, and then they could check and see who's been looking into your stuff. They have a record of that on their computer.
Yeah, you could do. Well, there's an internal. You can actually start an internal affairs investigation in addition to contacting the supervisor to the extent that the supervisor realizes there's a problem.
If he's not very helpful, then you'll have to go above that.
You can do an internal affairs. I think the major runs the internal affairs division for TPD.
Yeah, that's the issue. He's retired out of New York City. I really don't know too much about him.
So this is something in New York, not in Florida?
No, it is in Florida. He resides here in Florida.
Yeah, but
we installed cameras, and he's been driving by the house, and I've been followed. Just followed.
Well, why don't you have him followed? Go hire a private investigator.
Well, because now it becomes costly for this guy, and he didn't do anything, and he's trying to. Yeah, I'm just saying. It's one of the reasons.
I mean, he's going to mess with you. You mess with him. I mean, if it's cost is a factor.
I did ask him to leave me alone. I said, "Do you mind just leaving us alone?" I guess it's her ex. I don't care. That's irrelevant.
Here's the issue. Then it's not going to be through law enforcement. The guy's retired and he's out of New York. He's not in a Florida agency.
But what he's saying is he using his buddies that might be down here in the force?
Yes, because he was some president of some kind of police union here in the town.
I think the recourse for this fellow is an injunction.
Yeah.
I think what you do. I think what you need to do is an injunction. Bill Sansoni does a lot of injunction law, and you can be the petitioner, and then this fellow will be the respondent. And then during that process, you might be able, if a guy gets on the stand, Bill might be able to cross-examine him to the extent that he's been utilizing information, and there might be some research that Bill can do civilly. It's a civil injunction, by the way. It's not a criminal matter. It doesn't involve the state attorney's office. But
I just whatever it takes to get the message, just leave us alone.
Injunction.
Stop driving by the
That's
house.
what you want. You want an injunction. There's some specifically, Mike, for stalking.
Yeah, go get that done, sir. An injunction, because then if you do have a confrontation of sorts, it's already on the record that you've complained about it.
Yeah, and what'll happen is usually they'll give a temporary injunction for about 2 weeks if he fills out the paperwork, and Bill can help him do that if he wants to retain his services, and then then this guy will get notice of a restraining order, which is synonymous with injunction, for 2 weeks until you have a hearing. So the guy thinks, oh man, now I got to go to court, I got to explain myself, and that might back the guy down a little bit or a lot, depending. So that's the answer I would give to you today, sir. There you go.
I had an officer. He was waiting outside my house for me when I got home one time, and it just seemed odd. So I ran up by another friend of mine who was a sheriff, and he said every time they search somebody, their address it's recorded.
Oh, it's in the system.
Right, that stops them from harassing celebrities and driving by their houses and stuff like that. So that's done, and I had to file a complaint about that, and they immediately knew who it was.
Yes.
So it's I know what this guy's saying, it's a little bit more of a stretch because the guy's not in the law enforcement system here, but it is recorded. So if the guy is using other law enforcement to do that, it is recorded.
But how do you determine what law enforcement agency he's using?
Yeah, unless you say, hey, I know he's got friends on the sheriff.
And then, they could say, will they disclose it? Because he's not gainfully employed here. That's the problem.
Last call. Joe, you are on with Ask the Dom.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm great, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I got a question for Don. I did somebody's yard, their lawn service. It was me and my daughter for like 8 hours, and we charged them $500. Now he doesn't want to pay us.
Why?
So,
what is he saying? You didn't do a good job, or you just
No. He said take pictures of my property. We did that. We took pictures, and he said he liked it. He liked the service that we did. So now we tell him we want our money. Now he says that
he doesn't want to pay, and he tells us he sent the check already, and it's already been 3 weeks, and we haven't got the check.
Do you have anything in writing? You have a contract for services performed?
Just the pictures that we took.
No. See, the problem is, and this is what's unfortunate, is if you have an agreement for $500 or more in the state of Florida, it has to qualify under the statute of frauds, which means it has to be in writing, even a text, email, or an invoice where they sign, to protect the work. Because if you file a small claims action, you're in court, they're going to ask for the evidence. Guys will say, I don't know what this guy's talking about, and you're going to say, well, wait, you don't have any evidence. Now,
but clearly the guy's in a bad spot, so how do we help him out?
How do we help him out is how I would recommend. Now, you still have a lot of hurdles to overcome. So I'm not saying that this is going to be an absolute win for you. But to answer your question, what Mike is suggesting, I don't think
it's a real estate guy. There's nobody living in the house and all that. And I mean, it was 3 acres, and the grass was so high that we couldn't even see the lawnmower.
Well, we don't need to talk about that because we now know from now on you're going to get it in writing before you do any of that jazz. All right, so that's a $500 lesson learned.
Another thing, Don, what happens if we do it the Mexican way? You don't pay me, I go deal it myself. We just go in. My daughter said, just go in there and break the house, even though everything's abandoned.
Sir, Dom
we don't want to do that.
Dom is regulated by the Florida Bar, and he cannot give you any advice on that stuff. And I would not only call that the Mexican way; it's also known as the Italian way, the Irish way. I would say, do we have a phone number for this gentleman? Because I can call him and ask him.
Yeah, we got a phone number from him and all that.
Do you want me to call him and try and settle this for you right now?
If you want to, Mike.
Well, I don't want. Do you want me to? I mean, I want to try and get you paid, but I also don't want to see you have to go burn this house down and get caught, and you and your daughter go to Mexican jail. Lord knows if you're legal to start out with.
Yeah. Do not damage property. Do not commit any crimes because you'll need to hire my services for criminal defense. So let's not do any of that.
Yeah, I got his number if you want, if I can give it to you over the air.
Yeah, hold on. I'll give you to Carmen. Carmen, get the guy's number and try to call him. Don't tell the guy why we're calling, and I'll see if I can get to the bottom of this.
The other thing that he can do, because I was trying to answer the question, but a small claims action is going to be difficult because it doesn't have anything in writing.
Right.
This next action is also going to be difficult because again he doesn't have anything in writing, but it forces the homeowner to go through some hoops, as he can file a contractor's lien on the property. Now, again, there's nothing in writing. I don't necessarily think that at the end game is going to be victorious, but you're like, well, what can you do? Because, I mean, I believe this fella. I mean, why would he do the work without, having an agreement with the guy? Obviously, now it's a lesson learned. He needs to have something in writing.
Right.
But if you do work on someone's property, then the other problem then becomes, well, if he's not a licensed contractor, so if he doesn't have a license for landscaping, then that can kind of blow back on him. So it's a suggestion, but it also has its pitfalls because you still don't have it in writing. And then if you're not licensed, you're not insured, if you're not bonded, well, then now you could be tipping your hat to law enforcement or to local authorities or code enforcement.
Right, letting them know we're out here doing work.
Here's what I'm not going to like. I think he probably should let it go.
Well, let me. I have a special way of getting it.
Well, I mean,
get a hold of it.
Aside from the phone call.
I call now, but it doesn't appear like anybody's answering.
But legally, if he's not licensed, he doesn't have insurance or bonding. I don't want him to get in trouble with trying to put a lien, but that is a recourse. Small claims, I think, is going to be difficult because he doesn't have anything as evidence.
What's wrong, Carmen?
It was like a voice message, but it was definitely like the office number, and there was a very thick accent.
Oh.
So I feel like there might be a language barrier as well.
Well, you know what, sir? I'm Dom.
He can do is he can send a letter, a demand letter from a lawyer.
Ooh.
Why don't we do that?
I don't see that. Call it. Where is it? Line 1?
Yeah, have Joe.
Joe, will you call Dom's office today, and they can send a letter from the lawyer saying, hey, you did the work, pay the guy his money.
Yeah, so Joe, it's very simple, Joe. It'll cost me $4.60, which is no big deal. You're a listener to the show. I'm not going to charge you for that. That's a certified cost of a letter. All right, I'll put it on the top of my letterhead. It says my law firm. You just give me all the information. I'll dictate the letter real quick to mamas. We'll do a certified letter. We'll ask them to respond within 10 days, and then we'll see what happens. I'm not going to charge you anything. I'll do it as a courtesy, but call the office, ask for Pam, give her your information and phone number. I'll send it. We'll see what happens. I got nothing to lose but the $4.60, and I'll do it for you, Joe.
And if that doesn't work, then we go to the folks from Grady Goat Yoga. We get a bunch of their goats, and we let them go on the property, and they just eat everything.
But he already mowed the lawn.
No, they eat the plants, eat everything.
Oh, they eat everything.
They eat it down to the ground. Mow it down.
Oh, my goodness.
Good luck, Joe. Thank you. 813-251-5550 is the office, or at AskTheDom.com. And if you're a veteran, you've got an outstanding issue, call the office and let Dom get that off of your shoulders. That's the last thing you need to worry about.
Yes, and thank you for your service. And, Mike, thank you again for the time here this morning.
Dom, you're quite welcome. This is very, very efficient.
Oh, wait. Will you do me one favor?
Yes.
Can you do the Mike Tyson noise again? Let's drive it in.
One time I stayed in a hotel, and Mike Tyson was in the suite across from me, and I put my ear on the door, and all I heard was...
I'll tell you, I was...
It sounded like they were cleaning the windows really fast.
I don't know what... There's some things that you do the Morgan Freeman, you do the Mike... There's some things that you do when I'm driving in, I just start laughing. Yes. I got to check on...
That make you laugh on the way in.
It made my morning drive. I don't know what.
Will you be dressing up as anything for Halloween?
Well, I'm going to stay in my costume that we had on the cruise, which of course was
Ricky Bobby.
Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake. If your lawyer's not first, then your lawyer's last.
Damn right. I decided I am coming in costume.
What are you doing
on Thursday?
Surprise! It's not going to be the costume from the cruise, though.
No.
A different
what did
one.
I do on the cruise?
You're a Mexican.
Oh, yeah. I just bought that at Walmart. No, I got this one. I got an authentic costume.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
You guys don't have to dress up if you don't want to.
Oh, I'm dressing up.
Oh, you are?
Of course.
To the show?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's Halloween, man.
Now you all have to dress up.
What?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
No, I'm saying no, yeah.
Did you see that?
I'll make it easy for you. You go as Joe, and Joe can go as you. You just wear his hat and make a little devil beard, and you'll be Joe.
Okay.
Yeah. Gio goes as Slater every day.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. Carmen, you should dress as Gio.
Okay.
Anyway, I got my outfit, and I'm going to wear it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So there you go.
There it is. All right.
Yeah, I'll believe you.
No. I already got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Should have got it for the cruise.
I forgot that I had it. I forgot that I had it. And then, you want to know why? I'll tell you. Because
is it one that we've already seen?
No. Positive. Never wore it before.
Okay.
I
just have a costume.
It's not necessarily a costume. Like, if I was a chef, I could have, like, chef's clothes at the house. I can come in as a chef. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I already
It's something similar. What?
I already know.
What? If you guess it, I'll tell you.
Is it your Starbucks?
No, but something like that. It's but it's better. It's something you've never seen before.
Okay.
Yeah, I've talked about it, but you've never seen it. The reason why I forgot I had it is because I left it out, and Soph had it dry cleaned, and I found it in the dry cleaning area, and that's what I was like, I would have never dry cleaned it, but now that it's clean, I'll wear it.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right?
There it is.
Dom, thank you.
Mike,
if you can get through
buddy.
today, AskTheDom.com or 813-251-5550, or right here on this very radio station tomorrow night, sandwiched between Soul Brother Kevin and Johnny B. You'll find Dom right here.
Right in, right between the butt cheeks. Right Soul Brother and Johnny B.
Wow.
Right in the center.
It's like being in the black box on an airplane.
That's right,
Nothing could ever happen.
Just right in the center.
Let us take a quick break. We'll be back. It's the Mike Calta Show. It's 102.5 The Bone. Don't forget, 6 and 9 coming up after the top of the hour. Woo! I hope you guys are ready. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, I'll be ready by the time we do it. Bye.
It's the Mike Calta Show on 102.5 The Bone. We guarantee that all of our shows now contain 85% more pumpkin spice than ever before.